Let Them All Talk is the brand new HBO Max original film. The film's directed by Steven Soderbergh and stars the likes of Meryl Streep, Gemma Chan, Diane Wiest, Candice Bergen, and Lucas Hedges, and tells the story about a famous author who is played by Meryl Streep, goes on a cruise ship with her friends who are played by Wiest and Bergen, and her nephew played by Hedges in an effort to find fun and happiness while she comes to terms with her troubled past. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinenberg, and today I'm reviewing Let Them All Talk, the brand new HBO Max. But before we get into this review of Let Them All Talk, let me know your thoughts of this film in the comments section down below. Are you going to check this one out this weekend? Tell me if you've seen the trailer, were you interested? If you haven't seen the trailer, you're just going to watch the movie coming in blind. And also, if you have already seen Let Them All Talk, let me know your non-spoiler thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, the best way to support this channel is to hit that like button, subscribe, share, comment, do all those things. I'll tell you about some more movie reviews that are coming down the pipe here on Max Talks Movies. Now let's get into my review of Let Them All Talk. So I had literally no expectation coming into this movie. I didn't really know what the movie was about whatsoever heading in. I knew it was Steven Soderbergh, and I knew this cast. And this is also another team up between Soderbergh and Meryl Streep. Most recently, last year, they worked together for a Netflix. Well, Soderbergh actually had two Netflix original movies that came out last year, and that was The Laundromat and High Flying Bird. And they worked together on The Laundromat, which I really did not like and was extremely disappointed in. But I really loved High Flying Birds. It was a weird year for Soderbergh, those two Netflix movies that he made last year. And for me, heading in, Soderbergh's a real hit or miss type of director at this point. He can really hit and sometimes can really miss. And that's what that's what my expectations were heading in. I'm a big fan of Lucas Hedges. I think he's one of probably the best up-and-coming actor at the moment. And I think this is a great movie for him to shine in as well. So let's get into this review, my positives, my negatives, and then I'll give you my score. So as I said, did not know anything about this movie heading in. And this movie is very well directed, very well scored by Thomas Newman, who's been nominated for countless Academy Awards, and very well acted. All of those things across the board are all pretty much there for this movie. And again, even when Soderbergh is missing, he still does a great job because, again, he's the cinematographer as well for this film. So he has both hats on as a director and a cinematographer. And he has some very distinct directorial cinematographer-like choices that he makes during the movie that I think actually are very well done and really makes you understand where each of these characters are coming from. Now, the script I'll get to in a bit, but I do think the cast, of course, is great. Now, Meryl Streep is great once again as, again, one of the, if not one of the greatest actors, if not the greatest actress, maybe of all time in Hollywood, and Meryl Streep, who basically can do anything and get nominated for an Academy Award over the past decade plus, continues to prove while she's still got it with a really good performance as the lead, really the main focus of the movie, Alice. She's popped into so many different places over the past couple of years, and this feels like a very distant performance from what she normally does. But you also have seen Meryl Streep do this a lot, this type of performance, which was fine. I like watching her do it. It wasn't an issue, but I can see people have issues with the movie because you've kind of seen Meryl Streep do this type of character before. Her friends are also good. Diane Wiest, who I know from a lot of stuff, and Candice Bergen each offer pretty solid performances. I don't think that their characters are fleshed out nearly as well as Hedges and Streep, but they do have stuff to do between themselves. And you're really kind of focusing on Candice Bergen, who plays Roberta in the movie, because of what Meryl Streep did to her character 30 years prior to this trip. And again, they haven't seen each other for 30 years, and Meryl Streep trying to win this award in London, and she took her two friends who she hasn't seen in 30 years, and her nephew on this trip. And the movie feels very focused and centered. We're basically on this boat for about 90% of the movie. There's a bit of a 5 to 10 minute intro to the characters that's not on the boat, and then the final, I would say 10 to 15 minutes are not on the boat. I would say the majority of this film is on this boat, and you're going through the same routines every day, and you're discussing and you're finding out new things that happened involving Meryl Streep's most famous book and how that affected her best friends, and all of that comes into play here as well. And then Lucas Hedges plays the nephew, and again, he's easily my favorite part of this movie. He's my favorite character of this movie. And if you haven't seen Lucas Hedges before, he's just a brilliant, brilliant actor. Obviously, he was nominated for Manchester by the Sea, but has had really good roles in Lady Bird and Three Billboards, and starred in Boy Erased, and had good performances in mid-90s, I really thought as well. So he's just a really good actor. And he plays my favorite character of the film because he really is the audience's point of view on this friendship that for 30 years. Obviously, it's weird that you'd bring your nephew onto the ship just to be around, your pals from 30 years ago. But the way they explore his character, then he also begins to spark a little bit of a romance with Gemma Chan's character, who plays Karen, who's like a publicist, I think, or assistant to someone. And Gemma Chan also, who's seen pop up in Crazy Rich Asians and Captain Marvel. She's going to be a big deal coming up soon. But she was also very nice into the movie, and her and Hedges were my favorite scenes of the entire film. They have great chemistry with each other. And you get some of the bumps in the road in their friendship relationship on the boat itself. And I think Hedges and Streep also have a great dynamic in the film, because you really get to tell, you really do feel like Streep is Hedges's aunt, and they really see each other in high regard. Obviously, Hedges had some rough parents as we've been told during the movie, and he really needed Streep to bend and to help him. And he just realized on the ship how important she really was in his life, and all that stuff that comes from that as well. Again, Hedges is great. Streep is great. Everyone's great in the movie. Soderbergh does a good job directing it. Let's move on to my negatives. This movie really wasn't nearly as engaging as I think it thought it was. Again, this story, it feels like you've seen a similar type of story, but this movie is really just awkward conversations throughout. And some people are either going to really enjoy this movie, find it to be fine, and some people are going to find this movie to be really boring, which is an interesting thing to look at this movie, because they're just awkward conversations. And yes, I did enjoy how authentic a lot of these conversations were for the most part. And sometimes, though, it was quite boring. The movie is an hour and 53 minutes long, and that runtime, you can definitely feel the runtime. Sometimes when nothing exciting is going on, the movie it's a very slow movie. It's a very comforting movie, but it's very slow. There's a lot of information to think about, and there's a lot of exposition that has done off screen that you have to take in consideration about these characters. And I think for me, this movie wasn't as interesting as I thought it should have been. This movie had a really compelling plot about what Meryl Streep possibly did to one of her friends in her biggest book of all time. And I think they really did miss the mark on a lot of key conversations that could have been had in this movie between Streep and Bergen that they completely messed up on. They had probably one just big conversation together, but the awkwardness felt very repetitive throughout the film. And as again, there is a routine with what these people do on the ship, but at times it feels like you're seeing the same things happen every day. And that could be the point of the movie, but for me, at times it did feel just quite boring. And the ending, there's a big ending here in this movie, and it kind of just happens abruptly. And the way that some of the characters react to this big thing that happens in the movie did just feel not authentic, and felt completely out of what the movie was about at the moment. I did enjoy the quote-unquote twist of the movie. You can kind of see it coming, but there's a big thing that happens in the third act, and you can kind of see it coming. I think that Hedges' character easily takes it the best. I think he's a great actor, great character in this film. And I think that also him and Gemma Chan's relationship just felt like it just needed to be there to have Hedges do something while the three friends are doing other things at times. While it was great to see them doing that, Chan and Hedges had great chemistry, once they were off the boat, it felt like a very meaningless trip for the both of them. Now, obviously, who knows what happened? I'm not going to spoilers here, but it also did feel meaningless throughout the film. So it's a weird film to talk about because really not totally a lot happened. It's really just a conversational film. There's nothing great. It really is just a dramedy. And it won't be for everyone. Soderbergh, this is definitely better than The Laundromat for me. The Laundromat had a lot going on. The tones were whack. This movie definitely knew what it was, had great actors with great performances, a really good director. So the movie isn't bad in any way. It's definitely not just I just think it's a slightly above average movie, guys. So overall, guys, I'm going to give Let Them All Talk a 3 out of 5 stars, a 62%. I wish this movie actually really could have felt like an Oscar type of movie if it was put with a better script and more interesting characters. But because the characters and the script weren't up to par, in my opinion, this movie does suffer. But as I said, my positives were there, my negatives were there. It's above average, but a bit of a disappointment for HBO Max, even though they continued their good trend making quality content on their streaming service for their original films. One thing, guys, thank you guys so much for checking my review after Let Them All Talk. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, do all of those things. This weekend, could be some big reviews coming out. Tomorrow morning, my Mandalorian spoiler review will be coming out. Also, I'll be watching The Prom in Safety this week, Friday or Saturday. I'll be reviewing both those films. So 3 reviews at least coming down the pipe here this upcoming weekend here for this channel. So please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you're notified when these videos are up. Thank you guys so much. Please like this video. It's a big way to support this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next.